I mean, I'm sure everyone has a ton of questions. How did you balance the thought of, you know what, maybe a change of scenery is good for me versus I want to come back to the Giants?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what free agency is all about. It gives you a chance to sit back and reflect and be able to look at, what other opportunities you have out there and look at other teams as well as evaluate the team and the organization that you're already a part of, that I've been a part of for some time. But, obviously through this process, I ended up, here a Giant. I'm happy to still be a Giant.
Did you ever waver with that? That, you know what, somebody else's looks pretty good out there?
Yeah, of course. Like I said, I mean, I think free agency, that's what it's about. You have other teams that, show interest and you look at those situations and you try to weigh the two things. And, obviously after I got done weighing them all, I decided to remain a Giant.
Thank you.
Dan Duggan.
Hey Darius, you know you can't repeat as good guy winner, so hopefully that doesn't change your opinion.
It's all good.
But good to have you back. I'm just curious. Obviously, you're coming back to a team without a number one quarterback right now, and you signed obviously with that knowledge. What did they tell you at that time about their plan?
Yeah, I mean, obviously in free agency, it's pretty important for a receiver is to know who's going to be throwing the ball. So, me, Dabes, and Joe had those discussions, and I believe in the vision that they have and the plan that they have, and that they're going to get somebody in here that is going to be able to spin it and be able to lead us in the right direction.
Now that you are, back, are you going to be doing any recruiting? I mean, obviously, I know that Russell Wilson will be visiting. Like, what would your pitch be to a quarterback, and then are you going to be involved in that process?
I would love to. If they want to be a part of it, whoever it might be, I'd love to be a part of that process. Obviously, I'm all about getting any good football players here, but I'm certainly about getting good football players here that throw me the ball. So, whatever I can do to help that initiative, I'll be a part of. And honestly, I would just, I would just tell them, look, we got a lot of young, talented players, specifically pass catchers. I think we're a very quarterback-friendly unit, and I think for a veteran quarterback or for a young quarterback, either way, you'd be coming into a good situation full of good players. And we got two great tackles, so you're safe. Our left tackle's one of the best in the league. Our right tackle's one of the best right tackles in the league. You're safe. You got weapons. I think any quarterback should look at this situation as, the sky's the limit.
Thanks. Welcome back.
Appreciate it.
Pat Leonard.
Hey Slay,
Yo.
what do you think makes Russell Wilson a good quarterback? And what would be the advantages of playing with him as a wide receiver?
Yeah, well, selfishly, I think he's been career noted as having a great deep ball. So I love that, of course. But other than that, he's somebody who's won in this league. He's played well in this league for a long time. Played well last year for the Steelers. So, clearly he's still got gas in the tank. And if he's who we were to bring or whoever we were to bring in here, we'll embrace him and do our best to rally around him.
Are you following the minute to minute of these quarterback decisions like everybody else is? Are you seeing the pictures on the beach and all that type of stuff? Is it something that's on your phone like minute to minute here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have notifications on, but I mean, you kind of can't get on Twitter or Instagram without seeing the updates. So, I see them and, I follow them. But, at the end of the day, like I said, I don't make the decision for who becomes the guy. But I do to make the decision of being able to support the guy and play the best of my ability for the guy when whoever he is gets here.
I said we're going to look into changing the good guy rules if you keep up what you're doing.
Hey, it's first time for everything,
Hey, why not?
Why not?
Good call. I'm just curious. When the news came out that you were re-signing, I mean, I'll speak for myself. It was shock. Not that it was a bad thing. I think it was a positive thing. For you throughout this process, how did you ride the wave of emotions? The idea of I'm going to be back, I'm not going to be back. I know it's natural for free agency. You've been through it before, but were you surprised at all that the reaction from people who knew you and around the league was, man, I can't believe Slayton's re-signing with the Giants?
Yeah, I mean, I figured it would be that way, if I did decide to come back here, and I understand why people would be surprised. But, at the end of the day, I've enjoyed my 6 years here as a Giant. I've enjoyed my teammates here. I enjoy working with the people in this building. So, obviously we haven't won as many games as I would have liked and all that type of thing. But, I believe that we are capable of winning more games in the future. And honestly, other than that, I really couldn't tell you much bad about my experience of a Giant. So really, if we just when we get this thing going in the right direction, we start winning. I really couldn't tell you a bad thing about this place. So, I understand how from a football perspective and all of that people could get there. But like I said, I evaluated the other situations that were out there. And from both a football and a life perspective, I felt like remaining a Giant was still, the best option for me.
Do you find yourself as a pitchman? I know you made a pitch before, about the quarterback and why would guys come here. There was this feeling going into free agency of looking at the bigger picture and, guys around the league that see the Giants as a last resort. Why shouldn't this be viewed as a last resort? Because you're a guy who lived through the bad times that were supposed to chase guys away, yet you welcomed coming back.
Yeah, I think because when you're a part of an organization like the Giants, that's storied, that's established, your ceiling for your career is so high here. Like this offseason, we signed, Paulson Adebo, Javon Holland, two big time, defensive back signings, and just if you're a guy like that, if you think about it, he came from the Saints, he came from the Dolphins. They're both really good football players. But, relatively, underrated in the league. Like, they're better football players than what people probably give them credit for. But if they come out here this year and they have a great year for the Giants, they'll become top 5 names in their position, And that's just kind of the reality of playing for the Giants and having this, you guys, media behind you and having all that behind you. And I think anytime you can't understate that, because that helps add longevity to your career. It helps add, money to your pocket, whether that be in marketing or whatever. So I think the Giants is always going to be an attractive place to come. And also it's a great football place. There's people in this building that love football, that care about football. Obviously, Mr. Mara owns the team. He's got football in his blood and DNA. And at the end of the day, if you're a football player, you want to be around football people.
Thanks, Harris. Appreciate it.
Sure.
We'll take 4 more. Patty Trina.
Hey, Darius, welcome back.
Thank you. Nice to be back.
Nice to have you back. Darius, you said before that, when you were asked about the quarterback situation and that being unsettled, how much of your decision weighed in your familiarity with the offense, your belief in the offense, and what this offense can eventually be?
A lot. I think it's kind of like when people say, the devil versus the one you don't. And I feel like, we have a good offense here. Like I said, we have a lot of talent around me, in the receiver room. Our running backs are really talented. And I think up front, we've gotten a lot better up front. And like I said, right now, obviously we're trying to fill that quarterback hole. But I think when you just look at it, we have a lot of potential. And obviously potential doesn't win you any games, but it certainly helps. There's other times where your potential's low, or your roster's not as good. So, I think, those things make it attractive to be a Giant.
And then, last year, of course, was your first year with Malik coming in. Can you just talk about the potential growth of this receiver group? Malik, yourself, Wandell, Jalen, and, just what – you guys haven't hit the ceiling yet.
Yeah.
What do you see as being, like, the next logical step for you guys as far as your growth goes?
Honestly, I think becoming one of the better receiver units in the league. I think we definitely have the ability to be in that echelon and considered, one of the best receiving units in the NFL. And obviously, you got to have somebody, get it to you to get there. But, I think that's something that I don't take for granted. I love the guys in the room, Wandell, Jalen, Malik, even some of the other guys we had, Amir, some of the UDFA guys. We had a lot of young guys, a lot of just good people to be around, Bryce Ford Wheaton. So, I'm excited to be back in the room with those guys. I had a lot of fun with them last year, and I'm looking forward to the years to come with them.
Thanks, Darius.
Of course.
Brian Dunleavy.
Hey, Darius, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, of course.
Have you had a chance to look at once you were signed? One of the first things I did was look at the Giants record book, and if you're really going to be here another 3 years, then we got to start talking about legacy. You could actually be second to Amani Toomer in Giants receiving yards with 3 of your standard seasons. Have you thought about that at all? Did you think at all about where you could be as far as a Giants all-timer?
Yeah, honestly, I hadn't thought of it, but somebody sent it to me, and it almost didn't even read right in my head. I was like, dang, I didn't realize, it was actually, something that was that attainable. I felt like Amani Toomer's numbers was way over there in Pennsylvania or something. But, I mean, it's definitely something, that would be cool. I think anybody wants to end their career and feel like they left an impact on wherever they played for and have a positive memory of them wherever they played. So obviously, for my next 3 years, I'm going to do my best to play my best and leave fans with a positive memory of Darius Slayton in their mind.
And then you answered Russell Wilson, so I'll ask Aaron Rodgers. What about the thought of playing with, maybe the best quarterback this side of Tom Brady in this generation?
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I think Aaron Rodgers is probably the greatest quarterback to ever, just pure thrower of the ball to ever play football. So I have a ton of respect for him, and I know whatever. Obviously, everybody loves to in this league. Once you get a little older, it happens to everybody, and they're like, oh, he doesn't got it anymore, or whatever. But I think Aaron Rodgers has shown that he can still spin it, and obviously, like I said, I think we have all the tools to make a quarterback like him or any veteran or rookie successful. So. Obviously, if we get him, I would love to play with him. It's not very often in this league you get a chance to play with a Hall of Fame, all-time quarterback. I had the pleasure of playing with one my rookie year, and I think being able to play with two in a career is definitely not a blessing that I could understate.
Thanks, Darius.
Evan Barnes.
Darius, how's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. Just about the contract. Obviously, past issues. There were issues as far as the pay cut and you not playing in workouts. I believe last year. Just what does that security mean for you to have that security to know that you can just focus on ball and that's something that's not going to be a concern for you going forward?
It means a lot, seeing as how I spent 6 years not on this side of the coin. So it definitely means a lot. Honestly, the first thing that comes to mind when I think about the family, I have an organization, my mom runs, and, a couple other people that run and they help, and they touch so many lives, over the past 4 to 5 years. And, obviously, the more money I make, the more money we have to give. So, in my head, we just doubled our ability to reach people and touch people. And, I think anybody in my situation or anybody, even if you just made it to the league for the first time, I think it's important that once you get the ability to reach out and help, you should help. And you should do your best to the best of your ability to support people that need your support. So, obviously, as far as the money aspect goes, that's kind of the biggest thing. Obviously, I want to live a nice quality of life when I'm done playing football. But, that's definitely something that's really important to me.
Thanks.
Sure.
Last one, Tom Rock.
Darius, we all know the numbers from last year, the rankings, the offensive production, and everything that needed to get better. This is a team that has brought back most of its offensive coaching staff in the same positions. You're going to have 10 of 11 returning starters probably. I know there's still time in free agency here and the draft to come. It's just that one quarterback. What made you look at last year and say we are a quarterback away from being successful?
I think the fact that we still played some competitive games, and we were still close in some games. And in this league, you're typically a player 2 or 3 away. Even if a score maybe might end up being a 3-score game, you're typically a player 2 or 3 away from it being a close game or from you being a win. And a lot of times, oftentimes there's too much blame placed on the quarterback, and sometimes there's too much credit placed on the quarterback. But at the end of the day, they do touch the ball the most. So, if you find yourself in those situations as a team, the belief is that, if you get somebody back there and they make the right decisions, on a consistent basis, that, the wins will come. So, yeah.